Hello my creative and crafty friends, this is Gloria Plunkett with designsbygloria.com, here to share with you how to make this cute little tissue box holder using our Daffodil Afternoon Designer Series paper that is soon to expire as of February 28th of this month. So you want to make sure that you get in a $50 order in my online store, and you can order this on Designer Series paper for free. Let me show you how easy this project comes together and how we're going to make this happen. I have a free downloadable PDF for you as well that you can go ahead and download for free, so you don't have to write down all the measurements. I will briefly go over them, but you don't have to write them down if you don't want to, because I'll have a free PDF for you. Also, along with this, I'm going to have another video featuring this cute little gift box using the same Designer Series paper, the Daffodil Afternoon. And this particular one holds a little mini wine bottle. We created these projects for my team meeting last Saturday, and I thought I'd go ahead and share them with you as well. So let's get started on this one. Then I'll have another separate video for that other box because I don't want them to last too long. Like I said, I have a free downloadable PDF for you, so you don't have to write it down, but in case you want to, here are the measurements. These two thick, very vanilla cardstocks measure 5 3/4 by 9 1/2. This measures 4 1/4 by 4 5/16. Let me say that again. 4 1/4 by 4 5/16. I have another piece of mossy meadow cardstock that measures 3 by 4, and we're going to use that for the topper of our tissue box. Then I have the Designer Series paper again from the Daffodil Afternoon, and I've got two of them cut at 4 1/4 by 5, and I've got another two cut at 4 3/4 by 5/8, because as you know, our tissue boxes aren't perfectly square, so we have to make sure that we get the different sizes for each side. So we have 4 of those, and we're going to go ahead and get started. On these two pieces of thick berry vanilla cardstock, I scored these at on the long side, on the 5 3/4 inch side. I scored it at 3/4 inch. Then I turned it over and added it to my scoreboard, and I scored again at 3/4 and then 5 1/8. And I did that to both of them. And that way I have one of these and one of these on each side, so that we can go ahead and glue these two pieces together to make one long piece of cardstock for our tissue box. First thing we're going to do is come in and we're going to eliminate this little square right here. And we're going to come in and slice this on the center and just take a little notch of each side off. Just that much. I mean, just nothing. And we're going to do that for both pieces of this thick vanilla cardstock. Taking a little notch off of this side, a little notch off of this side, as you can see. And we're going to cut straight down the middle. And then take a tiny notch off of each side to create that right there. I'm going to bring in a bone folder, and I'm going to score all my pieces. I like to have a nice crisp score line, so when I put my box together, it looks beautiful. Now I'm going to use my tear and tape and some of my liquid adhesive. I use the tear and tape to really seal it and hold it tight, but I use my liquid adhesive on top of that, so it gives me a little bit of maneuver time before it sets. So what we're going to do is add our adhesive right to the edge here of these pieces of cardstock, and I'm going to use my little quilting tool here to cut the adhesive off. We're going to do the same thing on this one. Right to the edge. Don't go over the score line. And we'll cut that off right there. Just a little press there. I don't think I folded this score line nice and crisp. Did all these. Okay. So we're going to glue, like I said, these two pieces together to create one long piece of one long sheet. Okay. So I'm going to come in here with my snips, pull that off, using my liquid glue, add a little bit of glue over the top of that tear and tape and a little bit more in here, like so. And I'm going to adhere these two pieces together right at the score line, but not going over the score line. So you want that to be able to fold over, but you don't want it to be right over that score line, because then you get a big lump there. We'll just give it a little pressure here. Now we're going to bring these two pieces, and this should line up perfectly with your box. So we'll go ahead and remove the backing from the tear and tape. Again, I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue here, some more here, to ensure I get this perfectly squared. Like I said, it should align perfectly, but you know, just to be sure. Go. All right. And this is actually the bottom of the box. This is going to be the top of the box, and these are going to fold like so. Okay. So before we go any further, I'm going to add my designer series paper. And really, you can do this when it's flat out. It's probably easier that way rather than already having the box shaped. And let me just make sure. Got my pieces here. So this is, let me pull this apart here. A little smaller than this one, as you can see. Not much, but a little bit. So this smaller one goes on this sheet here, because like I said, it's a rectangle box, not a perfectly square box. And the larger one goes here. Okay? So you can also use tear and tape for these, but I like to give myself a little bit of wiggle room, so I'm going to go ahead and just use my liquid glue, which is very strong as well, and glue my panels on. So I left it so that we have like 1/8 of an inch all around. And one's just a little bit bigger than the other, like I said, because it's not a square box, slightly rectangle. And if your box, I would try this first, by the way, using copy paper. Try a sample of it using copy paper and measure it on whatever tissue box you have, because I think some companies' tissue boxes are different than others. Okay, we're going to flip it over. And we're going to do the same thing here. You can use Stampin' Seal as well. I don't have it handy right here, so I thought I'd go ahead and just use my liquid glue. Make sure these are even on the bottom, right here. flip it one more time to this side. I'm going to glue this. Make sure it's even on the bottom. Give it a little press, make sure it sticks. You've got the bones of the box ready to go. So I'm bringing in my tissue box and I'm going to add it over my I'm bringing the cover box over my tissue box. Make sure it fits there perfectly, and it does. And now we're going to work on the top. So the top is going to be pretty easy. We're going to stick these two tabs down and then this one. And then this is just going to simply lay right on top of the box. I'm using my retired layering ovals dies. You use whatever you have available to you. So I know that this is the way that I need to add add a hole to the front of my cardstock. I use a little purple tape here to try and make sure it's top to bottom, side to side, as even as I can. And I'm going to run it through my machine. Okay, run it through my machine. And I'm going to remove this and bring in my box and ensure that we have a good fit. As you can see here, got a little bit of the cardstock showing through, so I'm going to bring in my paper snips and give it a little cut right there. See if that works. Keeps it from showing through. That works perfectly. So I'm going to adhere these two pieces down with my liquid adhesive. Again, you could use your tear and tape or your Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm just going to give it a minute to set up. Then we're going to add my adhesive on this instead of on this sheet, just to make sure it doesn't go over those lines. Place it on top. This way, yeah. And then it gives me a little bit maneuver time to make sure I have the top perfectly squared. And I'm going to give it a bit of a rub all around. Give that glue time to set up. We could stop here. It's be a beautiful little tissue box holder. But as I did on this one, I want to add that little ring around the top, give it a little bit of a finished look there. So I've taken these oval dies and I set one inside of the other. I added them to my 3x4 cardstock, ran that through my machine, and it gave me this. I tuck that in there because I want the firmness of the box here, and I'm going to add this right over that opening as best I can. Now this one I would definitely recommend using your liquid glue just to give you time to really set this up right over that opening. Because you know, seal, once it's down, it's down. It's not going to move anywhere. This, I want to make sure I get it as close to the edge as I can. create a beautiful finish. There we go. And there you have it. Your beautiful tissue box cover that you can replace over and over, and it'll go with your decor, and it fits perfectly inside the small tissue box. I hope you've enjoyed it. You'll subscribe to my channel and you'll give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please leave me a message on my YouTube channel or send me an email to designsbygloria.com. I'll have it all listed for you below, and as well as the free PDF on my blog. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Love y'all. Bye-bye.